Because of the fact that Rosie O'Donnell is not the best interest of our great country, I am giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship. She is a threat to humanity and should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland if they want her. God bless America. Donald J. Trump. Be right back. You can't revoke what you didn't give. You can't revoke what you didn't give. Welcome to the Unorganized Chaos Network. I am the evangelist of entertainment. This is a whosoever will zone. All are welcome here, especially if you're gay, straight, cripple, or crazy. Do me a favor, please, and like, share, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. You can't revoke what you didn't give. Since when did a social media post come with Supreme Court powers? You can't revoke what you didn't give. Period. Last I checked, Twitter fingers don't rewrite the Constitution. You can't revoke what you didn't give. A throne don't make you king, and a tantrum don't make it law. You can't revoke what you didn't give. If citizenship is a right by birth, then no man, no matter how loud, is to snatch it away. A sitting or former president cannot unilaterally revoke the citizenship of a natural born American. The 14th Amendment guarantees that right, meaning such a move would be unconstitutional and legally void. Did somebody tell the orange man this before he posted that post? Rosie O'Donnell was born in New York in 1962, which means she's a natural born U.S. citizen. Her move to Ireland in early 2025 and efforts to obtain Irish citizenship do not legally jeopardize her U.S. citizenship. Bless his heart. The Orange Man has no legal authority to strip Rosie O'Donnell's U.S. citizenship. The post is a personal attack, not an actual administrative policy or realistic legal action. Bless his heart. Donald Trump policies and achievements. I did not vote for the Orange Man. I never will vote for the Orange Man and don't plan on ever voting for him. I wouldn't vote for him to be the garbage collector. But I want to give his policies and achievements for Donald J. Trump. Enacted in 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Acts, which lowered corporate and individual taxes but significantly increased the federal deficit. That is not an achievement. Regulation and environment rolled back many environmental controls, withdrew from the Paris Agreement, and emphasized energy independence. That is not an achievement. But this is what the people who I guess smarter than me are saying are his achievements. Trade and security implemented tariffs on imports from China and other nations, advocated an America First agenda, and boasted defense spending. This is not an achievement. It's God first. We are all God people. And guess what? America can implement tariffs and imports. And guess who else can do it? China and other nations can also implement tariffs and imports. Did you think about that? Foreign affairs. Supporters credit him with pushing NATO allies to increase defense budgets. Critics points to strained alliances. Why are we increasing defense budgets and can't even afford to feed the people we are supposed to be defending? He's presided over high stock market gains and median household income growth, but also recorded increased federal deficits and higher trade deficits. Who is going to pay for these deficits? It's like he's spending money. They calling it an achievement, but your account is in the negative. Can I do that? Can I continue to spend money if my account is in the negative? And then my credit score keep going up because it's considered an achievement? It's not making sense to me. If it's making sense to you, if you can make it make sense to me, please let me know. My comment section is open. Fiscal impact: trillions added to the national debt, with benefits skewed to a higher income groups. Okay, somebody make this make sense to me. Okay, so we already in debt. The Orange Man added trillions to the debt, and the people with the millions and billions and trillions get higher income, get more money. Now, I'm not mad at rich people at all because I am one of y'all. I'm not mad. I'm not trying to take any money from you. But at the same time, I'm not trying to take money from the poor to give it to you, when it can be used to help the people who really need it. When I become a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, I'm not going to need or want or even advocate for any money to come from the poor to be given to me. I'm going to be Miss Tyler Perry. If anything, I have the money and I see somebody in need, I have no issue, no problem with feeding those people. Y'all ever heard the 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread story? People needed to be hungry, and there was one little boy who had trillions and millions and billions worth of 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And then there was people that was hungry. He gave up his lunch meal to feed 5,000. Now he gave up his lunch meal to feed 5,000. Do you think that he got an increase And his increase did not come from the 5,000 or negatively affect the 5,000 he fed. Because as much if you give, you'll receive tenfold more. So I believe that little boy got his increase in generational wealth to this day. To uh, whatever generations came behind the little boy, the 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, I believe they are wealthy, hefty, and strong, and God bless them. They deserve it. But if those same people who are billionaires, and trillionaires, God bless you, I'm grateful for you. If at any point they knew that there was 5,000 hungry people, and they had the 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread to feed the 5,000 hungry people, if they in their bloodline, their ancestor was that little boy, I believe these millionaires, billionaires, and trillionaires would say, yes, let's feed them. Those are the Tyler Perrys of the world. Those are the Oprah Winfrey's of the world. Those are the Robert Smiths of the world who say, yes, I have millions and billions and trillions, and guess what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to take my millions and billions and trillions and 255 loaves of bread, and I'm going to give it to the 5,000. They paying off college loan debt at Morehouse, Spelman, and other HBCUs. Deregulation sparked concerns regarding climate change, public health, and consumer protection. Why are we deregulating something that can help the world? Public health, consumer protection. Why would we take deregulations from something that's helping to protect us? Not only us, but you and your mama and daddy too, and your family too. Okay, Rosie O'Donnell. I feel a water break coming on. It's good for you. Get you some. She's a vocal advocate for the LGBTQ plus rights. Thank you so much, Rosie O'Donnell. Autism support. Thank you so much, Rosie O'Donnell. Gun control. Thank you so much. And early childhood education. I am a proud member of the LGBTQ plus rights. Autism. I heard that Luther Vandross, I don't know, I didn't look it up, but I heard that he said he would never, when he was alive, that he would never deny or affirm his sexuality because of his mother. That is so beautiful and wonderful for him to do. But if he did say that he would never affirm or deny his sexuality because of his mother, that was your answer right there. I don't know anybody who's straight who would say, I'm now gonna deny or affirm my sexuality. That's me personally. Another thing is if he was willing to deny himself to be happy because of his mother, tells me that he felt like his mother would not have approved or accepted him no matter who he was. That's between him and his mother. God bless him. He made the most incredible music. Most people who are oppressed do. They create beautiful music, beautiful designers, beautiful. Most of our LGBTQIA plus women and men are very creative. Due to the oppression that we are under or have been under or allowed ourselves to be under just to make our family happy, it causes us to go into another category that allows us to be creative in a safe space for us in hopes of not being judged by it. Yeah, unless it's hard. Well, for me, how I feel, parents are people too. Parents have lived their lives the way they wanted to live it, whether it was right or wrong, whatever. I love my parents, and I'm sure he loved his parents for whatever and whoever they believe. But I don't feel like I should have to deny myself for anybody. It is emotionally depressing. It causes people to unalive themselves. It causes all types of mental anguish and pain. Right now, I'm choosing. I am choosing. I go to talk to Jesus on Sundays and my therapist on Mondays. So I know that I'm choosing to inflict emotional harm and damage on me, to go somewhere where I'm tolerated instead of celebrated. And I'm choosing to do that to make someone else happy. But there will become a time, as I was told, where it will become my breaking point. So I pray that I'm able to get out of that situation before it becomes my breaking point. I know some people believe that if you're gay, you're hell-bound. God bless you. I do not believe that. Y'all want to believe everything that King James said in this Bible that he authorized? Because please just look up other books that he's authorized. You would be shocked. If you're going to read that Bible and say, King James authorized it, but it was inspired by God, how do you know the other books he wrote were not inspired by God? Also, if King James was given the anointing or the power to authorize a book that was inspired by God, why would he be chosen to be inspired to authorize the publication of a book inspired by God? Out of all the people back there, they would choose Queen James, who wrote a book about demons and denominations. They say, okay, we're going to take this demon writer book author to come over here and help us write the Bible. That's all I'm going to say about that. Rosie O'Donnell, charity work. And I love what she's doing for autism support. I have a 9-year-old king. When he was born premature, a twin. His twin sister died 6 hours after death. When he was born, he had to go to Babies Can't Wait. He was underdeveloped. And I was told that he would either be autistic or have ADHD. He was developing slowly. I'm grateful he does not have autism or have not been diagnosed with autism. So I support autism um, people. When I had the means to do so, I did. I really did. I support pancreatic cancer when I had the means to do so. I did. Anything that has some, and I never spoke a word about it or said anything about it. I'm just bringing it up now. Gun control. Now I am a fan. I'm going to call it a fan. I don't have a problem with people having guns. Do y'all know the history behind why there are gun laws? There were no laws about gun ownership until black people started buying guns. And then the white people got scared and said, nope, we need to make some rules to regulate these guns. So I have no issue with anybody having a gun to protect themselves. But I do believe there should be some type of control if it has been proven that you having a deadly weapon could be deadly to someone else. So I'm on both sides for real. And she's an advocate for early childhood education. Yes, I believe children should start being educated before they get out of the womb. Read what to expect, why expect it, and listen to other things. Put your child within you is being educated and being formed and being nurtured, not only by what you are feeding the child through your mouth, but also what you are feeding the child emotionally. That child feels everything you feel. Research by research. She does charitable work for the For All Kids Foundation, awarded $22 million in grants to child-focused nonprofits. Bless your heart, Rosie O'Donnell. Now, I'm just telling you from people I know. I don't know much about the Orange Man. But from what I know, we have Mr. Tyler Perry, Miss Oprah Winfrey, Rosie O'Donnell, Mr. Robert Smith, Bishop T.D. Jakes. We have all these people who I am aware of who have donated millions in grants to help people who are in need. And that is a blessing. And I believe a lot of them do it anonymously without it ever been wanted to be known. Me, when I used to live in Atlanta, I know Mr. Perry would do stuff and didn't want nobody to know. But the people would find out, and next thing you know, it's all on the news. And his purpose isn't for people to find out. He just want to do it. So I think, from my understanding, I don't know if it's true or not. Anybody that knows Mr. Perry or want to show us Mr. Perry, I think he set up something where it comes from a non-profit organization where his name is not tied to it. And I love that around Christmas, he paid off everybody's layaway at a particular big box store. So that's a blessing. Now, when it comes to the Orange Man, I, right here, right now, am not aware. I said I'm not aware. I didn't say he has never done this. I am not aware of any grants or any money he has given to anybody that is less fortunate than he is. I think it's a blessing to give to the less fortunate, to bring them up. You never know who it is that you might help that may be able to come and help you or someone in your family line one day. That's just my personal beliefs. Because once I'm at millionaire, billionaire, and trillionaire status, I plan to give back. And you know what? I am 46 years old. And I have been working since I was 14 until 2021. I didn't even find out I had a traumatic brain injury until 2022 or 23. I can't remember. I went to a neurologist and said I had a traumatic brain injury. They said it must came from my job. And I believe it probably did, but because I can't figure out when, where, and how, I'm not going to blame it on my job. But because I was a former officer and they kept asking me questions, literally I went back like 2 or 3 times to the neurologist. They did MRIs. They sent me to Columbus Diagnostic Center. They sent me to LaGrange, Hogansville, Atlanta. Literally, I went to 4 different, and they were just trying to figure out where it came from. And the only thing I could tell them was, well, what was your former employer? And I would say, a police officer. They said it had to have come from that job. Have you been in any fights? I said, yes, only 2. One with the lady that was butt naked and locked herself at the Texaco in the bathroom, and one with another lady who was high on drugs. Um, those don't that I can recall. But I don't recall, but they said just because I don't recall doesn't mean it didn't happen because I probably could have been knocked out. And I was like, well, no, I had other officers with me. So, but I am even confused as to whether it's true. I don't know if I fell out or I don't know. But I'm not going to blame something. It's more than likely it could have come from it because I can't think of anything I would have done that would have put me in position to have a traumatic brain injury um, besides my job. But because I can't prove it, I'm not going to put that on them. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that I had to have worked for my former employer. I'm grateful for the opportunity the chief gave to hire me. I'm very grateful. But at the same time, what has happened to me since 2022, I think was unjust and could have been handled differently. But I wish him all the best, and I wish no harm against anyone. God bless him. How I got off on that? Y'all know my traumatic brain injury causes me to lose concentration, memorization. But hopefully it's secure. They say it ain't, but we're gonna see what God says. But I hope the Orange Man. I know that I think he's donating his salary as a president to nonprofits, from what I've heard. So I think that's good. Thank you, Mr. Orange Man, for doing that. Um, I appreciate it. I don't know who he's donated to or what. I think one time he donated it to veterans, so that's great because my parents are both veterans. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think I heard that. So I appreciate Mr. Orange Man for doing that. Thank you so much. Um, that's something I know of, but I mean that's good. That's the start, you know. So uh, God bless him. Okay, Rosie O'Donnell blamed Trump policies for Texas flood mismanagement and environmental neglect. I personally don't know anything about that. Um, I don't know how any president could make a policy that could create a flood. As far as I know, a flood is an act of God, I guess. But they said due to his mismanagement and environmental neglect, this has happened. I don't know everything, so I don't know how his mismanagement and environmental neglect could cause a flood. I don't know. But that's why I'm making this video, so I hope you can educate me. Rosie O'Donnell relocated to Ireland in 2025 with her autistic child, citing concerns about U.S. political climate. I'm grateful that she has the ability to move somewhere where she feels it's more safe for her and her child. Maybe one day I'll have that ability, to move somewhere that I feel is safe for me and my child, my 9-year-old king. I want my 9-year-old king right now to be close to family, so I'm willing to sacrifice that for him. But if I ever feel that he's put in a situation that is more of a danger to him, then I will be willing to move from the U.S. Once it's feasibly possible for me to do so, so I don't blame her. Now, my 9-year-old king, while I was locked up in a mental institution, a wonderful, dear, sweet friend of mine, very good person, took my 9-year-old king in, took care of him for about 2 years. Um, my wonderful friend called me one day and said, "Hey, my girlfriend would like to have a conversation with you." So, like, okay, I'm open and receptive to talk to anybody. The very first conversation I had with my wonderful friend, um, I'm sorry, this is my king. I will take a pause. Okay, I'm back. But when it comes to my kings, that's the most important thing to me. So hope you forgive me for that slight interruption. Now, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So she called me one day and said her new girlfriend would like to speak with me. No problem. I'm open and receptive to hear what anybody has to say. She called. She asked if she could give her my number. She gave her the number. She called me. The very first conversation I ever had with my dear, precious, sweet friend. Now, let me add this. My dear, precious, sweet friend is also an ex of mine. So I'm going to add this. Beautiful person, beautiful soul, crazy as hell, bossy as hell, does nothing wrong, and everything is everybody else's fault. But besides that, she has a wonderful, beautiful heart. She loves children. She loves pets. So I've always felt comfortable with her with my children. Um, she literally helped me raise my first two kids from kindergarten all the way through high school. That's how long we were together. And check this out. Let me show you how beautiful her heart is. Even during the points in time when we were not together, she still remained a part of my first two kids' lives. She made sure they had everything they needed. Um, and she did the same for my third kid. But anyway, the very first conversation I had with my dear precious friend, girlfriend, she asked me a question. She says, Why does my good dear precious friend have my son? Now, as long as I've known my dear precious sweet friend, she always called my king, my 9-year-old king, our son. My wife passed away from pancreatic cancer in the middle of us um, adopting my dear precious king. And so, due to her passing away, we didn't find out about the cancer and stuff like that till after we got married and decided to adopt. So that left me with my dear precious king by myself. Now, at this point, I have not heard from my dear precious sweet in years, literally, because I had gotten married and then my wife passed away from pancreatic cancer. She was in another relationship. Now, she would still communicate with my first two kids because whenever they would talk, they was like, hey, mama, she doing this, she going here, or whatnot. So I knew they were still in contact. But when she found out that I was in a situation with she stepped up. She was like, well, "He's gonna be my child, just like your first two kids." So I appreciate her for that. No hard feelings towards her. I sincerely wish her the best. She deserves it. I wish her love, joy, peace, happiness, and to be loved like she needs to be. I wish her the best this world has to offer her. And I mean that with the bottom of my heart. But when her now current girlfriend, I believe that's her girlfriend. I don't know. I never asked them. Um, but I think she called it and said she wanted to speak to me. But the very first conversation she asked me was, why does my friend has my king? When she said that, I said, this can be a problem. I didn't say this out loud because thoughts become things, words become things, but in my mind, I said, my king is going to be back here with me in a year or less. I was thinking that. I said, true story. I was like, he's going to be back here. He was in a better situation with my dear precious friend because right now I'm living with my parents with no income. Literally, I don't know how to express this. It's so depressing. But anytime I need anything, yeah, I have not had a haircut in like 3 months. That's why I wear this um, hat. Um, um, it probably been more than that because I try to only ask for things that I absolutely need that are critical, especially my medication. Um, so I'm like, I'm not even in a position to take care of myself. And even though he is my dear precious king, but because I knew he was in a spot where he was getting very well taken care of, I was willing to sacrifice him living with my dear precious sweet friend until I got through this situation I'm going through in order to receive him back so I can take care of him. But once she talked to me and asked me that question, it's like we have a problem. Next thing I know, my dear precious sweet friend calls me. It's like I'm gonna have to bring King up there. He's gonna have to stay with y'all. I said nothing because I knew and I saw it and felt it coming. It's like, okay. So I had a conversation with my parents and my sister. And I didn't break down until now my king has his own room here. My parents are blessed to have a nice house where they have at least two other rooms as guest rooms. But this particular night, he came and got into bed with me. He usually likes to sleep in his own bed. He has a PlayStation in there. For his cousin brought it for him. He came in my room one night and started crying and asked me while my dear precious friend didn't want him anymore. I guarantee you, I can put $1 on what I'm about to say. That my dear precious friend, new friend, put this in her head. Because I do not believe that the decision that my dear precious friend made to put our king in a less favorable position than he was when he was with her was her decision. I don't believe she would have made that decision if this new person was not in her life. And I'm totally basing this off the very first conversation I had with her new, I believe, girlfriend. I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful to her or her girlfriend. I'm just speaking my truth. And so he got in bed with me and cried, and I broke down because he was like, "Why does dear precious man don't want me no more?" And I'm sitting up here making up what I believe to be lies. And I'm lying to him, saying, "No, that's not the problem. You know, she's going through some stuff. She just lost her mom." Now, she did just lose her mom, her pretty lady. And that's horrific. I can't imagine going in it. But leading up before that, and because I have a wonderful therapist who take notes, I wanted to see, because I talked to my therapist about everything, because it's um, confidential. So I went back and I journal also, and I wanted to see, when did my dear precious friend start complaining about issues with our king. All of this started after King and before her mother's death. So I said, okay, these are true stories. I said, okay, okay. I wish them both. I promise you. I mean, I want them to be happy. Happy people make other people happy. That's why I want them to be happy. I don't know how I got off on this, but when he broke down and said, well, to me, I was like, wow. So I tried to encourage him, let him know everything gonna be okay, and that I would never do anything intentionally to take uh, my dear precious sweet friend from him, and that he can use my phone to call or text my dear precious sweet friend whenever he want to, whenever he want to go see her. He has every right to do so. Um, I also talked to my therapist because I just found out that our communication has changed. News to me. I'm now required to wait 24 hours before I get a response, which is something I'm not comfortable with. So I told my therapist, I said, this is not comfortable with me. She said, well, what is? She told me exactly what to say. And guess how smart my therapist is? She said, now I'm going to tell you what this person going to respond with. And God is my witness. This is what this person responded with. She said, now this is my dear precious sweet friend. I don't believe any of this is coming from her. Because the way she's communicating with me and talking to me is totally different from how she was in the past. She says to me, I'm going to make it easier for you. We don't have to communicate at all. And I literally laughed and chuckled. I was like, my therapist told me that this was going to happen. As soon as she set her boundaries, I respected her boundaries. So I said, well, I'm not comfortable with your boundaries of communication. I need more communication for me to feel comfortable, especially when it comes to my king. So because I'm not in agreement with that, I think it's best for us to communicate only when necessary and only when it's regarding our dear precious king. But because of the type of person my dear precious sweet friend is, because she didn't like it, I didn't like it, her communication methods, water break. I just wanted it to be good for you. Um, I was willing to accept, and I said that. I said, I understand. I have to wait 24 hours for you to respond. Whatever communication reason method that is, I don't know. If she has to get permission to talk to me, I don't know. I don't know if before she communicate with me, she has to run it through her new girlfriend. That's why it's taking 24 hours. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I want to make sure I'm making that clear. I don't know. All I know, all of a sudden, it went from, because I looked back at our communication because I was told it was always been that way, but the evidence shows that is not true. So, and my therapist said, now be prepared because her response might be. Now, when you have a certified therapist, life coach, and all this, she's certified in a lot of stuff. One day I would love to bring her on once I get an Ethernet cord so I can go live um, to talk. She's very educated. She's a black female. The only reason I'm not saying my therapist's name is I don't have her permission. And if I said anybody's name in here, it was unintentional. Please forgive me for that. I apologize for that. I don't need to put names out. But she said, now, based on what you have told me, and what I love about my therapist, she goes by what because there's three sides to every story. My side, my dear, precious, sweet friend's side, and the truth. She said, now, based on what you have told me, don't be surprised if she said, I'm going to make it better. We don't have to communicate at all. So when she said that, I promise to God, I chuckled. And all I said was, okay. Because I was expecting it. My therapist has prepared me. Ain't God good? God prepares you. Now notice I didn't say the Bible or the church. I said having a relationship with God prepares you. Having a good relationship with a good therapist prepares you. I just said okay and left it at that. And another thing, well, I say that for a different video. Let me get back on Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell, critics argue her outspoken style often heightens cultural division. And this is what they're saying about Rosie O'Donnell. So let me change it back to the Orange Man. Critics argue the Orange Man's outspoken style often heightens cultural division. Now, am I right about it or am I right about it? Rosie O'Donnell, while her advocacy is impactful within certain communities, her influence on nationwide policy is limited compared to elected leaders. I think Rosie O'Donnell should become an elected leader. She is already an advocate. She is already impactful, but she probably have no desire to get into politics, which I personally don't blame her. Trump, as a former president, has had direct influence on federal policy and governance. His agenda strongly affects tax, trade, environmental, and regulatory sectors. O'Donnell, as an activist, and celebrity, champions social issues and charities, albeit without policy-making power or broad constituency reach. Ultimately, best interest of this country depends on values and priorities. Ultimately, the best interest of this country depends on values and priorities. Out of the Orange Man and out of Miss Rosie O'Donnell, which one of you who have any type of common sense, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, which one of you believe has the best interest of this country at heart based on values and priorities? Economic growth versus fiscal health. Social justice versus regulatory rollbacks. National governance versus grassroots advocacy. Each has operated in different roles into different effects. Which effect would y'all rather have? The Rosie O'Donnell effect or the Orange Man effect? People who argue that Trump poses a serious danger typically points to climate change denial and policy roadblocks. He withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement in 2017. Why? Was the Paris Climate Agreement hurting anybody? It's a serious question. Give me an answer. He rolled back over 100 environmental regulations, including protections for air, water, endangered species, and emissions. Why? Was this hurting anybody? Was the 100 environmental regulations hurting anybody? This is a serious question. Please give me a serious answer if you know it in the comments. Critics like the UN and climate scientists who are way smarter than me argue that these decisions accelerate climate-related global threats, which can be framed as threats to humanity. Now, this is coming from the UN and climate scientists. The decisions the Orange Man is making accelerate climate-related global threats. The Orange Man has used inflammatory, racist, and xenophobic language, which many believe incites division, hate crimes, and civil unrest. It does. It incites division, hate crimes, and civil unrest. And for the MAGA people, what is your response to that? Or do you even care? Are you in support of him using inflammatory, racist, and xenophobic language? I don't believe that everybody who is a MAGA person or whatever, I don't believe they all agree with absolutely everything the Orange Man does. They voted for him because some of them might have believed that his policies were better than the other candidate. I can understand that. I happen to believe that the other candidate policies was better than the Orange Man policies. That's why I voted for the other person. So, I don't understand, but if you can help my understanding, I'm open and receptive to it. My heart is open, my mind is receptive. As long as you're respectful, I'm trying my best to be respectful as possible. Besides me calling him the Orange Man, that's not respectful. But since he's the king of calling other people's names, I have no issue with calling him the Orange Man, or 32, 34, 36 count felon, or however many it is. The Capitol insurrection on January 6, 2021 is cited as an example of his rhetoric turning into real-world violence and democratic destabilization. Didn't he free or pardon the people involved with the Capitol insurrection on January 6, 2021? I have a serious question. If the people who were involved, if the majority of the people who were involved in this Capitol insurrection on January 6, 2021, do you believe they would be called heroes if they were black? Do you believe that they would be pardoned if they were black? Serious question. Based on this world that we're living in these so-called United States of America, do you believe if the majority were African Americans, that they would have been pardoned? That's all I'm going to say about that. Give me a true comment, the answer to this, with valid resources, not just your opinion. Orange Man has publicly praised leaders like Putin, Kim Won-young, and Viktor Orban I don't know much about Putin, Kim Jong Un, and Victor Orban except they're bad people. That's all I know about them. Tell the truth. I tend to like to focus on the good in the world. So I don't know much about them, but to be publicly praising leaders who are involved, and let's just say, involved in things that are not for the better good for all involved, I don't think that's a good idea for a leader to do at all. Instead of it being publicly praised, it should be publicly criticized. But I can understand, what do you expect a felon to do? And what do you expect a person to do if they believe that Putin or one of these other people have something over their head, dangling over their head, causing them to fall into line, whatever Putin and the others want him to do? Critics argue that the Orange Man shows authoritarian tendencies, undermining democratic norms and free institutions. I don't believe it's authoritarian tendencies. I believe he believes he is the authority. That's what I believe. Did he have like a military parade on his birthday? That money could have been used to help people with Medicaid, but he decided to use it on his birthday. I have no idea how much it cost, but all I know, if it cost a dime, that dime could have went towards somebody who really needed it. His mismanagement of the COVID-19 response, his disinformation and downplaying of COVID-19, promoting hydrochloroquine and mocking people wearing masks. Why? I just want to know, Mr. Orangeman, why? Is wearing a mask hurting anybody? You say it's taken away from people's freedom. Okay, let's wait about this. Would it be safer for all involved for people to wear masks? Or would it be safer for all involved for people to not wear masks? Sometimes we have to give up what we feel may be right or what we feel may be wrong for the better good of all involved. I personally believe that more people would be alive today if the Orange Man would have handled COVID-19 differently. That's my personal belief. Studies estimate that tens of thousands of lives could have been saved with earlier science-based intervention. I believe that too. People who defend the Orange Man would say he's pro-America, not anti-humanity. Please give me some examples of this. Um, my comments are open and available. Give me some of it. He says America first, but is he prioritizing national interest? Is he prioritizing economic strength without harming others? America first means everybody, all Americans. And make America great again. I think that's so insensitive. Think about the people who America has never been great for. Let's think about that. Instead of make America great again, just make America great. Instead of MAGA, put MAG. I think that'll be more inclusive if that's something you're even interested in, being inclusive. Pre-pandemic, the U.S. economy saw low unemployment, a strong stock market, and GDP growth. Many view the Orange Man as a necessary disruptor, challenging enlightened systems and speaking truth to power. What truth has he spoke to power on his Truth Social network by saying he's considering revoking the citizenship of a U.S. citizen? Make it make sense. During Trump's presidency, the U.S. didn't start any major new wars, really. Some supporters claim he reduced military escalation compared to previous administrations. I find this to be an alternative fact. Labeling someone a threat to humanity is a moral and ethical conclusion, not a legal or scientific one. In my personal opinion, labeling someone a threat to humanity without proving, only thing he gave no proof, no who, how, what, when, where, and why as to why Rosie O'Donnell is a threat to humanity. All he said was, imagine him saying, is a threat to humanity. He can go around saying anybody is a threat to humanity. But he never sees himself as a threat. I've heard that he's a narcissist. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, or scientist. I don't know. Maybe I'll look up what narcissists mean and do a video on it just to educate myself and others. But if your lens is environmental justice, human rights, and democratic integrity, the orange man's actions could very well seem dangerous on a global level. Yes, his actions are very dangerous. His actions are very dangerous to the environment, to human rights, and to democratic integrity. Supporters view his tax cuts and economy enacted in 2017, his Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which supporters credit with boosting wages, lowering unemployment, and stimulating growth before the 2020 downturn. It's 2025. Have there been a decrease in people without jobs? Have there been an increase of people getting jobs? Have wages increased? Has unemployment been lowered? Have our economy been growing? Or are we in more debt? He introduced the USMCA and imposed tariffs aiming to protect American manufacturing and jobs. Well, thank you for protecting American manufacturing jobs, but imposing tariffs causes us to get imposed upon with tariffs. America First diplomacy. We pushed NATO allies to substantially increase defense spending. Again, why are we spending money to defend people who can't even defend themselves from hunger and homelessness? We're increasing money for the military to defend people who can't even defend themselves, which is, I understand why the military, why we need a defense. But at least make sure, to me, it would seem more logical. Okay, who are the people we're defending? The citizens of America. Okay, are the citizens of America okay? Are they set up in a situation where if something happened to our Defense Department, they're able to defend themselves until we get our Defense Department back up to par? He negotiated the Abraham Accords and Taliban downdraw in 2020. Critics view that the Orange Man is harmful to long-term national well-being. He's raising the debt and fiscal instability. The tax cuts, pandemic relief, and increased spending ballooned the deficit and national debt nearly 39% rise, hitting post-World War II highs. Why? Now I know he don't make all of these decisions by himself. There's a group of people called elected Republicans that are helping him make these decisions. I personally believe I don't have no uh, control over these people, but I personally believe some of these Republicans might be doing these things because they want to be in good favor with the man who is able to be president twice, and they want to see themselves in that same position one day. Instead of them listening to the people who voted them into office, they'll rather listen to the man who is in office. Now, I've heard that some of these people who have voted these Republicans into office are regretting their votes. Maybe this will be good for the Democratic Party, maybe it won't. We will see. Time will tell. The recent One Big Beautiful Bill, which I personally believe is the one big bad bill, is projected to add $5.5 trillion to debt over a decade, largely benefiting the wealthy. I don't have an issue with the wealthy. I don't have the issue with the wealthy being benefited. But if it's taken away from people who needs the money and really could use the money, then that's where my issue lies. Do the wealthy need more money? If they're wealthy and are able to maintain their wealth, I hope the orange man is able to maintain his wealth. I have no problem with him being wealthy. I have no problem with anybody who is wealthy being wealthy. But I do not believe it should be at the expense of taking money away from the people who are less fortunate. How about we help the people who are less fortunate become one of us, become a wealthy person? Then we won't have to worry about taking money from people who don't have the needs, because if all of us are wealthy, there is no needs that are not being met. Environmental rollbacks. He withdrew from the Paris Agreement and reversed 100 climate protections, raising concern about long-term environmental and health impacts. Why? Is this hurting anybody besides the people with the money? Global standing and economic costs. Tariffs policies created trade tensions, unsettled global markets, and eroded diplomatic trust, prompting concerns from major partners to fill a water break. It's good for you. Get you some. Public health and institutional strain. Critics assert pandemic mismanagement and deregulation harmed public health and contributed to significant loss of life. That's sad. That is horrific. Pandemic mismanagement and deregulation harmed public health and contributed to significant loss of life. He's responsible. I personally believe the orange man is personally responsible to the significant loss of life. What happens? What are you charged with when you are a felon and you're responsible for contributing to the significant loss of life? What happened to O.J. Simpson when they held him responsible and proved that he contributed to the significant loss of life? What's the difference between the orange man and OJ? Large-scale restructuring, such as layoffs at the State Department, has been criticized for weakening diplomatic engagement globally. Populist and pro-nationalist segments strongly support him. Others worry he's damaged democratic norms. Yes, he has. Approval rating hovering near mid 40% in May 2025, notably strong only on immigration and traditional values. Global confidence in a Pew Research study across 24 countries, median confidence in Trump handling world affairs was only 34%, with 62% expressing low confidence. Strengths: demonstrated ability to deliver economic incentives, shift global power dynamics, and challenge established systems. How is this a strength? Anybody can challenge an established system. I can challenge an established system. Does that mean that that's a strength because you have the ability to challenge an established system? I would like to take the opportunity on this video to challenge the Orange Man established system. And who are these economic incentives going to? He has significantly increased high debt, environmental and health rollbacks, trade disruptions, and erosion of global alliances. Why? Ultimately, whether the Orange Man has the best interests of the country depends on how you weigh short-term economic gains and national assertiveness versus fiscal responsibility, environmental sustainability, not global cooperation. So you need to tell me that based on what I believe the Orange Man is doing a good job is based on short-term goals versus long-term goals. That don't make sense to me. The best interests of this country should be determined and based off of all good for everybody involved. There should no short-term goals that are being made that can be detrimental to any American citizen. There should not be any long-term goals that are made that could be detrimental to any American citizen. Now, I know y'all talking about immigrants and things like that. I'm personally talking about American citizens. I have no issues with immigrants. Um, I'm on the fence with immigrants. I'm trying to figure out who crossed who border first. Did America cross Mexican border and called it America? We did not already change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. So how do we know we didn't change the border of Mexico to the border of America? I don't know. Now, I personally believe immigrants. Now, I heard that he was saying that there was white people in Africa who was being mistreated and needed refuge and needed to come to America. Have no problem with that. Anybody, black, gray, triple, cripple, crazy, black, white, whatever. If you're in a situation where you need help and the only way for you to get help is to move to another country and that other country is able to help you, have no issue with that. But why are we focused on spending millions or billions or trillions of dollars to bring these people from Africa who are being hauled to America, and at the same damn time building cages to put people in who are crossing the border to come to America? Now, I didn't say crossing the American border or the Mexican border, because still don't know who border it is. And as far as I know, this is God's country. Nobody owns this land. As far as I know, Christopher Columbus can't discover something that was already discovered. If you go somewhere and people are already there, it's not yours. If somebody comes into my parents' house and say, "This is now my house, I have discovered this house," how ignorant would that sound? Just because when Christopher Columbus came here, And this land did not look like the land he wanted it to look like, or the structure didn't look like what he felt like it should look like, or it didn't have the legislation or the government or the Capitol or the White House that they felt necessary, does not mean that he discovered America. It means he came in and took over and made it what he wanted it to be. Ultimately, whether Trump has the best interests of this country depends on how you weigh short-term goals versus long-term goals. As far as Ireland would almost certainly not offer Donald J. Trump citizenship, at least not willingly, enthusiastically, or without controversy. Now, then, wasn't there somewhere where the Orange Man went and then President Zelensky went from Ukraine, and everybody stood up and clapped when Zelensky came in, but nobody said a word when Orange Man came in? I don't know if that's true or not, something I heard. So, if Ireland is now saying this, and wherever he was at, where he was not received in a friendly atmosphere, so how do you think the whole world is seeing us right now, based on who was voted into office? And everybody who didn't vote, your no vote, helped vote him into office. Ireland's government likely would not invite him. Irish politicians across the political spectrum have been publicly critical of Trump's policies, especially on immigration, climate, and foreign relations. Somebody Ireland got some sense. Former Taoiseach Search Prime Minister Leo Varadkar once said he strongly opposed Trump's travel bans and border walls. Several Irish Parliament members boycotted Trump's 2019 visit, calling him racist, sexist, and dangerous to the planet. I personally believe all can be true. I would need more information. But as far as him being racist, now I do know he was sued for not selling or renting his property to African Americans at one point. Trump wouldn't qualify under normal citizenship rules. To become a naturalized Irish citizen, one generally must be a legal resident for at least 5 years or have Irish ancestry, which Trump does not, or be granted citizenship by special exception, which is rare and reserved for those who benefited Ireland's public interest, like Bono, not Bombast. Even owning property, Trump owns Dunesburg Golf Resort in Country Clare. That doesn't even entitle him to citizenship. But thank you, sir, for building us a golf resort here in Ireland. We appreciate you, but you're not welcome to move here permanently. Public opinion in Ireland screws strongly against Trump. Polls and press coverage in Ireland during both Trump presidencies were overwhelmingly negative. Water break. Get you some, it's good for you. An Irish Times 2020 survey showed only 10% of Irish citizens supported Trump. Protests broke out in multiple cities during his visits. Editorials labeled him a danger to democracy and the anti-Irish president. I can see why Irish is protesting against him. We protest against him here in America. Is there anywhere he can go without there being a protest? Shouldn't that say something about you? If everywhere I went, me personally, everywhere I went, somebody was protesting against me, that would make me look at me. Now, when I make a video of one or two people make uh, an opinion that I don't agree with, I leave it alone. But if at every video the same negative comment is being made, then I would take a look at me and I would address it. I said, okay, Frida, okay, you done 2, 3, 4, 5 different videos and you're getting the same complaint on each video. You need to address this. The culture clashes loud. Ireland is generally known for progressive social policies, marriage equality, abortion rights, and climate action. Pro-EU globalist perspectives, a strong distaste for colonial arrogance. So Trump's style, policies, and rhetoric clash with Ireland's core values. Bottom line, would Ireland want Trump as a citizen? Highly unlikely. Not politically, not legally, not culturally. They don't want you at all. He could visit, buy a Guinness, maybe play a round of golf, but a passport, that's a hard no. Good night. Gracious, I ain't never had a your passport or not, don't even come here. If you want a set trip, can you imagine Trump applying for Irish citizenship? A president of the United States cannot take away anyone's citizenship, not legally, not unilaterally, and not under the Constitution. In plain terms, the Constitution protects citizenship. Under the 14th Amendment, all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States. This means if you are born here, you are a citizen. If you are naturalized, your citizenship can only be revoked under strict legal procedures, and never just because a president doesn't like you. Only a court can revoke citizenship, and that's rarely. For naturalized citizens, citizenship can be revoked if they lied or committed fraud or engaged in terrorism or treason. If they engage in terrorism, what if we have an American citizen who's a 32, 34, 36, 37 count felon? I can't remember. What if he's engaging in terrorism against the United States? Can y'all take his citizenship away? Nazi war criminals in the 1980s lost U.S. citizenship after trials. Celebrities, critics, or political opponents? Absolutely not. You can't be a political opponent of the politician without your citizenship being taken away. Supreme Court has shut down citizenship revocation by force. Look at Afro King versus Russ, 1967. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled the government may not involuntarily strip a person of citizenship. So even voluntarily voting in a foreign election, which the government once used as grounds for loss of citizenship, was ruled unconstitutional. Even if the president says it's still illegal. This president says a lot of stuff that's illegal and just straight up not truth, what they call alternative facts. If a president tweets it, truths it, screams it, or writes it in a Sharpie, it doesn't matter. The U.S. is not a monarchy. The president has king-like power to revoke rights without law. Any such act would be struck down by the courts immediately. If someone like Rosie O'Donnell were born in New York, then not even all three branches of government working together could take away her U.S. citizenship unless she voluntarily renounced it. Now, I'm not here by permission. I am not living borrowed breath. My presence is not a favor, it's a fact. I was born with purpose, protected by promise, and wrapped in rights no one can rewrite. No title, no tantrum, no threat can take what was mine before they even noticed I existed. I don't shrink, I don't beg, I don't break. You can't revoke what you didn't give, because my worth was never yours to decide. Turn with me, if you will, to John 10 and 28. There within you will find these words, and I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. that God has given, which is life, purpose, identity, and promise, no man can take away. Not a king, not a president, not a post, not a policy. They didn't give it, so they can't take it. Go watch The Color Purple again by Alice Walker. So quoting that I may be poor, I may be black, I may be a woman, but I'm here. I'm here. Thank God I'm here. And you can't take me away from where I is. Sinless Declaration is a literary anthem of divine worth, inherited dignity, and unshakable presence. No matter what the world tries to deny her, like your title, it says you didn't give me this life, this power, this place, so you don't get to take it. It's spiritual, it's ancestral, it's undeniable. Then go watch The Great Debaters. We do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. The great debaters, power, force, and dignity aren't handed out. They're claimed. The characters fight not just for debate trophies, but for the right to exist unapologetically in spaces built to silence them. They fought for the right to not just for debate trophies, but for the right to exist unapologetically in spaces built to silence them. You can't revoke what you didn't give. This film reminds us our brilliance, our right to speak, and our place in this world were never gifted by the oppressor, so they cannot be revoked. Go listen to I'm Every Woman by Shaka Khan. It was covered by Whitney Houston. I'm every woman, it's all in me. Anything you want done, baby, I do it naturally. That line is a soulful celebration of inherent power, not borrowed, not bestowed, not granted by anyone else. Just like you can't revoke what you didn't give. It's a declaration that who I am didn't come from your approval, so your denial is irrelevant. It didn't come from your approval, so your denial is irrelevant. I was born here. I own this. I am this. You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman elected to U.S. Congress. Let me read it again. You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. Shirley Chisholm, first black woman elected to U.S. Congress. Shirley Chisholm didn't ask for permission to lead. She didn't wait for acceptance to claim her place. A quote like your affirmation reinforces the truth. If you didn't give me my power, you sure can't take it away. Her legacy reminds us that authority born from conviction, identity, and action can't be revoked by systems that never gave it. A legacy reminds us that authority born from conviction, identity, and action can't be revoked by systems that never gave it. You can't revoke what you didn't give. Gracious and sovereign God, you are the giver of life, liberty, and purpose. No man, no media, no monarch, no magistrate. You breathed identity into my bones before the world even knew my name. You wrote my worth into the earth, and no hand formed in flesh can undo what you ordained in spirit. Today I stand in full awareness. I was created on purpose, with purpose, for purpose. No title can define me, no lawless tongue can label me, no earthless power can erase what heaven has affirmed. I rebuke every lie spoken against my belonging. I silence every voice that tries to question my place. I rise in the truth that what they didn't give, they can't take. Not my dignity, not my identity, not my divine right to exist and thrive. Lord, help me walk boldly in what is mine. Let me carry my calling with confidence. Let me speak like I've been sent, love like I've been chosen, and live like I've already been approved because I have, and they can't revoke what they didn't give. In your mighty name, I claim this. Amen. But wait a minute now, did we all just hear a grown man on social media threaten to snatch citizenship like it's a lace front on clearance? Somebody hold my earrings. Before I start baptizing folks in fast, let me ask you something. If you didn't birth me, break me, or build me, how are you bold enough to try and ban me? Nobody, not even a president with Wi-Fi, can revoke what was never theirs to give. Not your rights, not your identity, and definitely not your black girl magic. Your citizenship is protected by the Constitution, not a comment section. Your identity is not an Amazon return policy. It's permanent, precious, and not up for review. What God ordains, no tweet can erase. Let's break this down like rent, taxes, and the lyrics to cuff it. The legal truth. Girl, they tried it. The 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution guarantees that anyone born here is a citizen, period, with a T. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States. U.S. Constitution, Amendment 14. So unless they got a time machine and a birth certificate, your legal right to be here is locked in like Sunday hair appointments and peppermint in Big Mama's purse. Now, I need to see the orange man's birth certificate, the long form. How do we know he was born here? Yeah, I want to see it. Facts alone ain't enough. Let's talk about feelings because some folks got issues. The ego Olympus. When insecurities buys a suit. You ever notice that the loudest folks hollering about citizenship are the same ones who couldn't pass a fifth grade civics test with a cheat sheet and a choir back of them? It's given I didn't read the Constitution. Somebody didn't read the Constitution. Turn to your neighbor and say somebody didn't read the Constitution. That's the wrong neighbor. Let's go to the other neighbor. Somebody didn't read the Constitution. But I felt threatened, so now I'm a judge. Wow. That's not how any of this works. You don't get to revoke what you didn't build, bless, or birth. This ain't build a bear citizenship. Let me flip. If we could revoke things we didn't give, I snatch student loans, generational trauma, and those synthetic wigs from Real Housewives. Yeah, all of that would be gone. But rules exist. So where does that leave us? Let's go deeper. Past the headlines into the heartbeat. Your identity ain't on loan. Let's be crystal clear. Let's get some clarity. You don't need permission to belong. You were born with brilliance in your blood, stamped by spirit, signed by struggle, sealed by survival. And guess what? You can't be counseled from something your ancestors paid for in blood. You can't be counseled for something your ancestors paid for in blood, sweat, and spiritual overdraft fees. According to the Pew Research, over 90% of U.S. born citizens retain their citizenship for life unless they choose to renounce it. Not because the reality TV host woke up spicy on Truth Social. So far, we've learned the legal, the laughable, and the lived truth. But let's keep climbing because the view is clearer at the top. Let's talk legacy, love, and what we leave behind because this is bigger than clapbacks. Legacy ain't optional. Your presence in this country is more than a fact, it's a legacy. From Harriet to Shirley, Audrey to Michelle, black women don't just exist, we expand. So when someone says go back where you came from, tell them I'm already here. Check the receipts. My roots go deeper than your Wi-Fi signal. And even if it wasn't born there, decency should still apply because humanity is greater than hate mail, because compassion is greater than control, because basic civics should be common sense, you will think. Now, before we close, let's make this personal because this ain't just about Rosie, my beautiful black queens. It's about you, your power, your papers, your peace. I am not up for negotiation. Your womanhood, your worth, your citizenship, not optional, not conditional, and definitely not revocable by folks who couldn't handle you on your softest day. Here's the twist: they don't really want your papers gone, they want your power quiet, your truth dimmed, your soul shrunken. But my beautiful black queens, we don't do discounted dignity. We don't do discounted dignity. What would happen if we all believed this truth? What if we taught our daughters they can't revoke what they didn't give? From the moment they could say no. So next time somebody tries it, be it a politician, a boss, a troll, or even a lingering self-doubt, stand tall, smile hard, and say, you can't revoke what you didn't give. And what I got, you couldn't afford it anyway. Your rights were written in law, not emotion. Your identity is sovereign, not suggested. Your power is not up for grabs, it's up for growth. If they didn't birth it, bless it, or build it, they don't get to revoke it. If you felt that in your spirit, like it. If you laughed and learned, share it. If you're done asking for permission to exist, subscribe and keep showing up like your birthright came with Beyonce level confidence because it did. You can't revoke what you didn't give. And that's on God, Grandma, and Section 1 of the 14th Amendment. The mic is still yours. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for turning on that notification bell. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank God for you. The Jesus in me loves the Jesus in you. May my whole life prove that God is good. Do me a favor and please share this with at least 4 different people. You're more than likely to become like the 4 people you hang around the most. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate your subscription. If all hearts and minds are clear, let's go govern ourselves accordingly.